My so-called life is sponsored by Do you know the internet is an amazing thing? It is an amazing tool that has connected us all so that we can complain about everything. And you know what's funny? Sewing machines are no different. I recently purchased a Singer 252 Fashion Mate sewing machine, and I was actually really excited. I went to my local thrift store, and that particular store rarely has sewing machines. So when I walked in and I saw it, I immediately purchased it. I scored. I did my ultimate warrior dance. Then I made the mistake of looking it up online. People were trashing a sewing machine. And they were trashing it because it wasn't another sewing machine. And it just kind of made me laugh. And somewhere in the process of all of this, I decided to reupholster my chair. And it got exciting because my chair, in a way, time traveled because I wrapped it in denim. So as always, strap on, wear a helmet, and let's go sewing. One of the main complaints that I see when people buy vintage sewing machines is they say it doesn't work. They buy a machine that's 100 to 60 years old. This is from the 70s and they expect it to work immediately. And life doesn't happen that way. This machine was no different. It needed a lot of love. And if there's one thing I want to show is that when I say overambitious, I mean this machine is belt fed for real. This completely turns the bobbin case, and usually it's metal. So I can see the frustration when people buy these machines and they don't work because, excuse me, they need a lot of love. And this was no different. But with all that being said, it's a great machine. So, like I always say, instead of talking about it, let's check it out. As usual, I picked a terrible color, but this is the back, and that's the front. And it threw down a completely perfect stitch. So, first off, welcome to the fleet. And second, for a machine that people are whinging about on the internet, it's actually extremely sturdy, and I'm glad to have it. As always, stay creative and keep sewing. Machine. And the funny thing, when I started doing research about this machine, it is one of the most hated sewing machines I've ever come across. One of the reasons is because the model after this, the Singer 237, is a coveted and loved machine. It's considered a holy grail machine, and in all honesty, there's really not much of a difference between this and the other machine. So I want to say less than a year ago, I walked into my local Staples and I told the kid, hey, I need a cliche YouTuber chair. And the kid was like, say no more. So it's been about a year and this chair is already completely ratty. I took the arm off and I'm going to reupholster my chair. My real plan is to wrap it in denim, but I want to give it that upcycled patchwork look. So let's see what happens. And you know what? This is my first time ever trying to reupholster an office chair, so this one's gonna be a journey. But hey, what's the worst thing that could happen? So at this point, I'm using one of my world famous cardboard cutouts as a template for my chair. That way I have something that I can measure out from. Now what I'm going to do is start forming the denim around it, and I'm also going to measure the sides so that it comes out looking decent. So let's see what happens. Alright, so I've shaped it, formed it, and now I'm ready to pin it and sew it.
Hey, come on, take a ride. There's a party over there that ain't no job. It's live, it's all the way live. Don't even have to walk, don't even have to drive. Just slide, slippity slide. Just forget about the troubles in your 9 to 5 and just sail along. That's what you do, just sail along. Now the dude's so funky, hey, what do you think? What is it called? It's called a lakeside stank. Come along and ride on a fantastic voyage. I'm the captain of this vessel. We wanna take you on a cruise all around the land. Music is at hand. We wanna play it for you. You see, we want to be crew of entertainers. Jam to the music.
So I'm finally done sewing my top cover piece together. What I'm going to do now is I'm going to add this on top of this, and I'm going to put a ton of cushion in this and the seat because, let's be real, my chair needs help. Alright, so it's been a while since I've done a tutorial, but as usual, I am way ahead of myself. I've completely wrapped the top part, and now I'm working on the bottom piece of the chair, and I have to say, even though I'm upcycling it, it's coming together very well. My chair just went from 2022 to 1982. I have completely reupholstered, wrapped, whatever you want to call it. I'm actually in love with my chair. And one of the reasons, besides all the mistakes that I made while making this chair, is that I added a ton of cushion. I put my design on upside down. It doesn't matter. I am completely in love with this chair. And the one thing that I'm most impressed is that it is gloriously soft now. So, like I always say, stay creative. So remember, the key to reupholstering your chair is adding a ton of cushion. This chair is glorious. And you know what? I absolutely love my Fashion Mate 252, and I could honestly care less what people cry about on the internet. And it's always buyer beware when you buy anything at the thrift store. With all that being said, if you've made it this far, I thank you. So as always, reinforce your seams, be yourself, and I will definitely see you next time.
High energy, full with the wisdom, sense of a rich man, knowledge and the rhythm. This is what I'm using to come up with a style, so I'll interact altogether better with the crowd. Nervous for a second and the record starts spinning, and I fall into the state of mind of what I've just created. Pumping like the doctor, the into the RE suckers ready to leap up on the tip when we made it. Created so I'll never be regarded as a regular, more than just a little bit better than my competitor. You should never underestimate the fashion. I hope for the stage, whether I'm cooling or thrashing. Cracking the concoction created by me. When read, you read, E equals a D-O to the C. Knowledge and the talent that my mother had born to her equals an artist I won't be born. What is that, Dre?
It's the formula.
It's like a message that only I can understand. But those who wanna